All right, and here we are live tonight on YouTube with the fabulous, great Rocco from Pieces of Vinyl, one of my favorite YouTube vinyl channels. He has the best setup in the vinyl community. I love his lighting and everything, and also the way he presents his records. And Rocco also did in the past some videos about Vinyl Me Please. And when I spread the news that we're doing a live stream together, some people got in touch with me and told me, wow, Nadine, you're doing an interview with the official social media guy from Vinyl Me Please, because you were kind of the go-to person for Vinyl Me Please releases. And maybe, Rocco, you kind of introduce yourself and explain a little bit what your role with Vinyl Me Please actually is.
Cool. Well, awesome to be here on Soul Disco. I also am a huge fan of your channel as well. I constantly watch all of your soul and funk stuff because I'm a huge fan of soul and funk. But no, I am not their vinyl or their social media person. I am just a fan and just a customer of Vinyl Me Please, just like all of you guys. So I worked for them for a couple of, like, they hired me freelance to do a couple social media videos just because they like the videos that I make. And I am a freelance video person or videographer, filmmaker here in the United States. So, I mean, I do that kind of stuff for all different kinds of companies. But they just happened to reach out when they saw other videos that I made that they had no idea that I even made or that I was going to make. And it was just literally, they enjoyed my stuff, the good and the bad, which is what they said too when they reached out to me. So, but I don't work for them in an official capacity. Like, the way I kind of described it to somebody else in the comments of another video is I've never had to pay taxes to the government for Vinyl Me Please. So therefore I am not officially an employee for them. So.
I see. So first of all, I think Vinyl Me Please started in 2013, right? Was it
I
around that
believe
time?
so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's well. No, yeah, because last year was their 10-year anniversary.
yeah. So, and I enjoyed that concept very much, that you have a kind of subscription service and you get also certain selection of records. You always had, and this was one of the most important things for me, next to the record, a recipe for a cocktail which fits to the record. I loved that. I really did. And what I also loved was that they had great effort in the packaging. They were always very transparent in what source they're using. Is it a copy or is it the original tape or whatsoever? And I really enjoyed that. So how did you get to know Vinyl Me Please?
Well, so I am a huge, huge fan of Daptone Records, which is the poster that you see here behind me. This is like all
Mhm.
their first 100 singles. Um, Daptone's out of Brooklyn, New York. They're a U.S. independent record label, and they're like a soul, mostly 60s soul driven label, but they actually have a lot of other genres now. And in fact, they have a new album coming out that we could talk about in a little bit, and there's a Vinyl Me Please exclusive. But the Vinyl Me Please exclusive they did with there's a soul singer who passed away named Charles Bradley, and Charles Bradley released a record called Black Velvet, and it was kind of like his last record. I believe it actually released when he had already passed, and they Daptone made an entire box set of it that had it was really cool. It had all these pictures. It had these like hand drawn artwork from Charles, as well as some seeds so that you could go and plant a tree in his name, which was really cool. And I went and bought that, and then I was listing it in my Discogs like I do with everything else. And I happened to notice that there was a club edition. It said, Charles Bradley Black Velvet Deluxe Club Edition. And I'm like, whoa, club edition, like limited, like what's this? And so like I, went and looked it up, and apparently Vinyl Me Please paired with Daptone and put out a purple and blue version of that record. I actually ordered it on Discogs, and it was one of my first instances of ordering something on Discogs and getting the wrong version of the pressing. So the guy sent me it, and I got the black version, and he didn't have the Vinyl Me Please version. So I've actually yet to get that Vinyl Me Please deluxe version. I'm gonna actually get my hands on it one day, but I do have the regular black version, so that's why I just kept that. And the guy gave me a refund too, so that was good. But that had nothing to do with Vinyl Me Please, but that was on Discogs. So, but that was the first time I ever heard of them. And then I went and looked up because I was like, well, do they have other Daptone, reissues? And they actually did. They were actually coming out with These Sacred Souls. And we were just talking right before we started here about like the Chicano soul scene and like Chicano soldies kind of sound. And These Sacred Souls is a band that they released an exclusive on Vinyl Me Please with through Daptone. And Penrose Records is Daptone's imprint label that does more of like the Southern California like soldies sound. So between that These Sacred Souls record and the Charles Bradley record, I was like, these guys are pretty cool. And then I looked up and I saw some other really awesome exclusives that they had out previously, like the Rage Against the Machine. I don't know if you're a fan of Rage Against the Machine, but they have the Rage Against the Machine Evil Empire, and it's on this awesome like exclusive vinyl. Now again, I don't have that one, but that's apparently really hard to come by at this point. And that's when I really started going like, oh, okay, so like a lot of these records from them start to go up in value, and a lot of these exclusive pressings really start to go up in value. So that's when I really started to kind of like jump on the train, and I joined in 2021, and I've been a member ever since.
Well, you've just mentioned the colored variations. So they have like very interesting names like sprinkle yellow, galaxy flavored, water drawn thing.
Right.
So I do enjoy that. But some audiophile people say I would have preferred if it's black. But they did a fantastic version Sly and Family Stone, which is absolutely stunningly beautiful looking. I really enjoyed that. I had an issue with the sound quality, but you need to have, I'm sorry if it's getting loud, you need to have a look at that vinyl. So, I mean, that's so cool.
I know, I have it. It's beautiful. So you had an issue with the sound quality, you said?
Yes, I thought that's something, I wasn't so happy with the sound quality of this one.
Do you have an original?
Yes.
Because I have an original as well. And
Yeah.
I mean, my original's not in the greatest of condition, admittedly. I actually sent it out to that Perfect Vinyl Forever service with Steve to get it cleaned. And he did a great job with it. It came back a lot better than when I sent it to him. But I thought that the Vinyl Me Please actually sounded better than my version of it. Now I don't know if I have like an OG. I have to go and look at like the actual like pressing that I have and like which stamper it is or whatever. But yeah, I enjoyed that.
Don't you have a hot stamper version of this?
I don't know.
Oh, I hate this discussion about hot stampers.
Yeah, right. I mean, I like just listening to this stuff. So, I mean, for me, like, if I can get an original copy, great. But I just want like a nice copy. Like, I want like something that sounds good, has to be, it can be good enough. And if they're going to entice me with a couple extras with like, some extra artwork or a booklet or, cool colors or something, as long as the color, so the color things, I've seen a lot of, I actually went and looked it up with this Gotta Groove pressings. Have you ever heard of Gotta Groove pressings?
Yep.
So they put out an article and they put out a video where they were talking about color pressings and saying that like a lot of times opaque vinyl, like opaque colors, tend to be the ones that have issues because that's almost like a different type of variant or a different type of versus translucent ones or ones that have any type of translucent with them. And then sometimes with either splatters or like crisscrosses or something like that, there can be some issues with them, but I have never really noticed anything from like a color perspective. Anything that I've ever noticed would probably be more on the mastering side or like the actual, pressing side.
Yeah, what I also think is that Vinyl Me Please did some legendary releases, like for example the box sets, the Zamrock box set. Oh my God, this is
Yeah.
an absolutely legendary box set. I also just recently got the Cadet box set. I bought it from a
Oh,
collector.
you just got it?
I just got it.
Isn't it
It's
great?
also, I love it, but it's also a price point, so I have to be very selective with
Sure.
things. But this is something. This is such a high quality release. When you see that box set, you're all the thick cardboard from the jacket and also the pressing. And what I've mentioned earlier is that they are very transparent with the source of the material they use. And so this is just like legendary things, and I enjoy them so tremendously.
The Cadet's one of my favorites. I got that specifically because of the Dorothy Ashby Afro
Yeah,
harping, and they also did the Rubaiyat of Dorothy Ashby, if I'm saying that correctly or not.
yeah.
That's an amazing pressing as well. And this, speaking of the box sets, this one, the the Vanguard one
Oh,
totally blew me away. And Michael talked about this one and its quality, and he was actually listed, I think, on their website for a while with his review of this. This completely got me into. So this record, and they did a Dave Van Ronk folk record, and both of them completely got me into folk music. I was never really like that big of a fan into folk music, and also the Bruce Springsteen Nebraska record. That, oh my gosh, that is like, I mean, that like brings me to tears every time you listen to it. Have you ever heard that record?
yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I'm
very
not the
good.
biggest Bruce Springsteen. I love the Born in the USA kind of period. So
I've never been a big Bruce Springsteen fan at all. And because growing up, Born in the USA was like, especially because I live, like within like, an hour from where Bruce Springsteen like grew up or whatever. So like around here, it's like burned into your brain, And but I really really enjoyed that Nebraska record. That was a good one. And then there's been tons of others. Like this one is another great Philadelphia record that they put out. Do you know about this one?
I know about this one, but I missed it. So yeah,
So this is, I believe this came out in 2016 because this is an older one with the older Obi strip here. I'll like show it up for the viewers here, but it
hold on.
has
I'll
the
make you big. I'll make you big. Maybe
okay.
you can show the front again. Thank you.
So there you go. There's the it's got the older Obi strip and the older booklet now too, because now they use an updated booklet, and they moved all this information. Like here's like the newer version of their Obi strip, and they moved all that sticker information from all this into there. But this is Nat Turner Rebellion. Laugh to Keep from Crying. I always forget the name of it. But this is a record that was an experiment, or I guess in conjunction with Drexel University, which is a university in Philadelphia, and they have they don't even really have a big music department, but they have like an audio engineering department, and they have like a music like licensing and like A&R representative type of department. So that's where this came into play, because I'm not sure if you're aware of this or not, but the entire like Sigma Sound Studios master tapes are in the vaults of Drexel University, and I've been trying to. That guy that I know, Max Ochester, knows somebody who is like friends there, and he's got. They're all involved within the Preservation Society of trying to get the everything there listed historical for Philadelphia, and so Drexel University found this in their master tapes, in the vault down there, and they realized that this was a complete album that had never gotten released, from Philly International Records or Sigma Sound or anything like that. So they got together with Vinyl Me Please to release 5,000 copies of these, and they got it out there, and it's really good. I mean, it's a really awesome think I think it's 1969 was when this was recorded, or I could be wrong on when exactly it was recorded, but it is the 1960s, early 70s basically, and it's got that cross between psychedelic rock and that early funkadelic sound kind of stuff. Lots of percussion, lots of guitars, fuzzy guitar driven stuff, but it's really good. And so I was very excited. I picked this up right when I was doing all that stuff with Ron Akins and Max. I just was looking up Philly soul artists, and this one came up from Vinyl Me Please, and I was like, oh. So I just went on Discogs and grabbed it. I think it's still, there's still probably copies out there on Discogs that aren't too expensive that you can get, but I don't know that they have a repress of this, because at the time they used to do, in the beginning, they did, when they first started, they just started with just records of the month that were just any pressing, any reissue that they could get, they were just putting out. And then they morphed that into having a track, which was the Essentials track, and then they made the Classics track. So when they started doing that, that's where some of the ones like the Black Sabbath Paranoid and these early ones come into play, that they're kind of limited, but they were records of the month that they did, repress at some time. So that's why some people kind of get confused of is this a limited edition, or are they going to be repressing it? Most of the modern records of the month, they tend to repress, often. But I guess eventually every vinyl record's limited at some point. So,
yeah. And if someone is willing to part with his version, let me know. I'm
What's
after
that?
this album for a couple of years. The one you've just showed.
The Nat Turner.
Yeah, so if somebody finds it, please let me know. I'm still on the hunt for this one for some time now.
I wish I would have known. I actually had an extra copy, and I got somebody else hooked up with it. But I'll find you one. I'll find you one.
Thanks.
But this is a great. Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we have Basement 45 up here from Germany. He has one of the most famous record stores up here in Germany. So thanks, Peter, for joining. And he says, he says this is not an obi. So the obi is, I think, the Japanese word for belt. So actually, these are not obis.
So what do we call these? What is this called? These over in the United States, everybody here refers to these as obi strips, or is what they say. And so I don't know what the official. What do you guys refer to these as?
I have no clue what we also call them obis, but actually there are no obis, because the obi is the stripe which goes along the record.
I know what you're saying.
So that's that's the Japanese word for belt, and so this is so I'm honestly also not happy with these things, because when I put out the record, I need to get this clumsy thing back in, but
sure.
Yeah, it's nice to have these informations.
Yeah. No, I see. And that makes sense, though, that it's belt, because that actually makes sense for two reasons. Because you hardly, for older records, I was hunting down those older Miles Davis Electric Years records, the live ones, Pangea and Dark Magus and stuff. I have them too. I got them, and I wanted the original obi strip or whatever, and those ones are the belt kind that are wrapped around the record, and that leads me to believe that back in the day they probably were all like that, and they probably needed to be torn to open the record, and that's probably why most people don't have any of them anymore when like you're trying to find the original ones from like back in the day.
I reorganized my record shelf today, so I need to find a Japanese record which has the obi. Usually the obis are placed up here. So if you had a record, you don't need to tear it apart. Also, if you had like a double record, you carefully put it away and then you could open it up. And especially when it comes to Japanese record, if it doesn't have the obi, the original one, sometimes you talk about a price difference between like a couple of hundred or €1,000 or dollars for a record, just because of that missing paper stripe. That's crazy. So, but we have a question from Nina. She says, "Hey, Rocco, was it you recommending a cool box made of steel for vinyl gadget? If yes, what was the name of the small box?"
Yes. Do you want me to go get it? I can go get it and show you.
Sure. Go ahead and get it.
Just give me 1 second, okay?
I give you 2 seconds. While I keep staring at the record I don't have, and I want. So. Yeah, exactly. Vinyl Ghost. Exactly. I'm also very careful. Like I said, I reorganized everything in the back today because space is getting an issue. So I needed to rearrange certain things. So yeah, I'm very careful. And what I'm doing if I have a double LP, I put the obi over the first part of the double LP, so I can. Do I spell that correct? Double record. Double record. Yeah, here we go. That's the.
Here was that Miles Davis.
That's
with
the obi.
Yeah. So yeah. So this
Hold
is.
on, I'll make you big.
Okay. So this is the Toyo toolbox. It's a little Japanese toolbox that I use to put like my stylus and my Michelle record clamp and like brushes and stuff. But these things are made by the company Toyo, Toyo. You can get them on Amazon, and I made a video about them, so you can look up the video on my channel, and I have a link to them in the video. They come in a smaller size too, like one that's like maybe this big and a little thinner. And then they have ones that are even bigger. So it's cool because you can stack them within each other. And they have these little things, these little divots on them. So if you can see here, these little divots. So you can stack them and they kind of don't move with each other too. But they're nice. They're like little tin little boxes. And I just liked it because it was flat black and it could fit small, like within my record place. You end up accumulating all this stuff when you have vinyl records, So
Vinyl Ghost is saying it's too small for a real brush.
Oh right. Well, that's what I mean. They make bigger ones. You can get ones that are like, you can get ones that are probably like this size, Yeah.
So Nina says, "Thank you." Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Rocco.
Yeah, no problem.
I will always be thankful, Vinyl Me Please, for a certain release. And this is the Barbara Harwood on the Rise. Do you have that record, Rocco?
I do. You made me get that record. As soon as you talked about that record, I immediately went out and bought it. In fact, I paused your video and went right to Discogs and immediately found it and got it. And I was so happy that I did. It's beautiful. I love it. And then I heard that there's like a cassette out there, like I guess the original rare cassette.
I'll be right back. Hold on for a minute.
Oh, you have it? Oh, she has the cassette. Oh boy. So while we're here, let's show off some other cassettes. So I just got this cassette, which is Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings. Oh, okay. Oh. I've been getting into cassettes lately because I just got this fun little Walkman from Fio. I made a video about this recently, and I got all these awesome cassettes, but one of them is this one called Brain Story, which is from Big Crown Records, and that's brand new. And also, are you familiar with Alice Russell?
Yes.
Yeah, she just put out a new LP, and I got it on purple cassette.
On
So
purple cassette. Now they have
yes,
color variations with cassettes. But here we
yes,
go,
right.
Rocco.
I know, right?
Here we
So it.
go.
Oh, wow. So is that the original, or is that the re-release from Coal Mine?
That's the re-release. So back in the day, they didn't, as far as I know, they didn't put it out on cassette. It was only available later on from the reissue.
I'm gonna go find that. That's awesome. That's red. It's a red cassette too. See, look at that. Oh, see, that's just great. And you know what's great? My son has been getting into cassettes, and that's kind of why, like, that's kind of where this whole thing kind of comes into play. And I know that, like, I know that the sound quality is not great or anything like that. I just was walking down the street the other day going to the park to meet up with them, and I had it on. But you know, it sounds great. And what I decided was I'm gonna limit it to like very rare compilations, either like reggae or soul, or like, you know, if I could get some like MPB stuff, that would be awesome. And like, you know, just have it on cassette, and that'd just be cool.
Yeah. But yeah, this one is absolutely mind-blowing. So this, I was looking for the original for years, and when I saw that on the Vinyl Me Please page that they did a reissue of this one, I was like in shock. So I immediately ordered it because I knew that it was a limited edition, I think, back in the day, and it's just an absolutely beauty.
Yeah, I love
And
that like ink splatter.
yeah, and it sounds incredible. So
It
everybody who
does.
said colored vinyl doesn't sound well, it sounds incredible. I do have the original, and the reissue sounds better than the original. And they only could make a needle drop because the tapes were lost.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. They made a needle drop, right? So, and you have the original, so that's even cooler. Oh, hey, so what's up? What's up, Chance?
What's up? Yeah, Chance is up here
Chance
too.
jumped up.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So I wished that Vinyl Me Please would have kind of kept in that path of reissuing, so the super rare, super rare records. So, and for me it got a little confusing when they had like now a hip hop track, a rock track, a country track, and it was for me getting to a point where it was getting too much. And it also started that I wasn't getting, and this is just a personal taste. It's just a personal taste that I thought I found myself more and more swapping the record. So you have with Vinyl Me Please the opportunity, if you don't like a record of the month, you can always swap to another record from a certain track, or you can get store credit. So that's super fair. But I was like, why don't you put out some of these rare things? You know, I wished Vinyl Me Please could have said, okay, vinyl community, make some suggestions, or they get in touch with some channel who are specialized in certain things. I know they have this Discord server where you can also discuss certain things, which I also think is great. And that also there a kind of a place where you make in suggestions. And I did a couple of times. And a day later, I looked into this section, and it was like 150 sections more. So I would have wished that they would have kept that a little better.
I agree. And so what's cool is now, because of the channel, because of the awesomeness of the vinyl community, right? With all of us making these, you know, videos and actually, you know, talking about this stuff, Vinyl Me Please, I think, is definitely listening. And as you know, they have a situation going on right now where like they have a whole, you know, lawsuit issue. I made the previous video about it, talking about what's going on now. From making that video, they actually reached out to me, and I was able to talk with their new CEO, who was their original CEO. And I actually just talked to him today, and he's a really, really, really cool guy. And I will say the company is a lot smaller than people think they are. There's only 17 total employees that work there, which I had no idea was even the case. But
Well,
they're a very small company, and with that, it's really hard to navigate in the world of like they're not a label. They kind of like run in parallel, you know, with the music industry of like finding things to put out. So I do agree. And I agree with Concert Buddy here. I agree with what he's saying here that, something like this Don Blackman is a kind of a return to form in the idea of putting out something, that isn't readily available at the moment, or like that Barbara Howard. And I think that if they keep it to labels like, keep to putting out exclusives with labels like Daptone and, Big Crown and things like that, that they're going to be able to, at least keep pushing indie labels and stuff like that with harder to find records that you're not going to be able to get that variant of or that exclusive version of. The hard thing is there's so many like masters to feed in the situation in terms of which records are going to sell, right? Like I love Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, but not many people know exactly who she is, right? I mean, like she's really popular, and I mean, a lot of people in Europe know who she is, and she's a big artist in that respect. But compared to like Fleetwood Mac, or compared to like even Alice Coltrane, which they just put out an Alice Coltrane record for May, that's where like you're trying to find the balance between finding records that are going to sell, but also that you can get rights to and continue to pop in, quantities for. And that's where the Barbara Howard thing is cool because it's in conjunction with Coal Mine. But something like this is cool too because now this is going to be more in, like availability to people to be able to get. So since it is just a record of the month versus it being an exclusive. So...
But who knew about Barbara Howard before the Coal Mine people reissued that? Not many. So
no.
I think it would be more, or would be better to go into that step and saying, okay, listen, we tried to do that. We have kind of a track with rarities on a certain genre or whatever, and put this out to give this a wider stage.
Yeah. And I told him too, like having a chance to actually get to talk to him today, I said, one of the things that I think is a big genre that's lacking completely almost on Vinyl Me Please is reggae. Like they don't really have a lot of reggae offerings almost at all. Like I would say, I mean, if I had to think off the top of my head, if you went to their channel, if you went to their website and sorted by reggae, I think there's only like 3 records or 2 records, and it would be arguable if a couple of them is. There's the one that I actually got, which was it's a Trojan reissue, the Silvertones. I think it is the Silvertones or Silver Bullets or something. But either way, it's a really cool record. But that's like the only reggae record that they have, and I'm not able to say anything about what he was saying to that. But he was like, we hear you on that, is basically what he was saying. So my hope is that like some more things come down the road in that respect for that, which would be really cool. And then same thing with the idea of, he was very interested to talk to me, which I found genuine in them wanting to know like what can be improved. And you had mentioned the Discord server, and I've been on it a few times with like listening to them. Like they're very upfront. The 2 people that they have on there running it we got to meet the one guy, Paul, one time. And they're very upfront about like, if you have a question about something in terms of, why'd you put out this release versus this one, they'll tell you flat out like, hey, we want to get that one. Like sometimes we don't have the opportunity to, or sometimes we don't have the rights to. That was a question that I asked him today, because Vinyl Me Please started in 2013. And at that time, I don't know why there's party things going off. That's the silly. I know if I do this, a thumbs up will happen too. See, I get a thumbs up.
I don't have that feature. I want that feature.
I don't know.
Too.
It's weird. It's my laptop. So, but anyway, he was saying today that, because I asked him, they started in 2013. And at that time, vinyl was kind of making a comeback, but it wasn't certainly what it is today in 2024. And do they have a harder time even getting access to things today than they did then? He was like, absolutely. He's like, there's so many times where we'll meet with labels or go to conventions with, music reps and stuff, and they'll ask for our wish list, or we'll tell them what we have ideas for. And they're like, well, this is going to be an anniversary edition, so we can't do that, or this artist can't come in here because of this reason, and all these different things. So, I mean, I could see why it's very hard to get certain issues. That all being said, it's another reason why it would be better for them to try to go after more things like this, or more things like, did you get the Errol Stubbs? Yeah, you probably have it back there, right?
Yeah, but no, I wanted to put out, if Vinyl Please would get in touch with me, just for an example, I could have put it, just get into my shelf and like having like at least 4 records, like a Lou Johnson, which is not ever has
Yeah, you
ever
have.
been. This is a fantastic album. Joe and Garrett, she was on Chess, great record.
Yep.
Tommy Young,
Yep.
or like Lee Moses. Are you familiar with Lee Moses?
Yes. Yes.
So he was on Marble, and on Marble there was also Marvelous Madness, which is also an absolutely stellar album. So,
Yep. Stupid thing.
but yeah, I love that. You mentioned just a couple of minutes ago that there are some issues with Vinyl Me Please. May you can go a little into detail what the issues are?
Yes. So, and also, what's up, Bowie Aguilar? He just jumped into the chat here. He's an awesome follower of the channel. Yeah, I have that Ghetto box set. We'll talk about that one too. Yeah. So basically, I mean, if you're a member of Vinyl Me Please, you might have seen this. You might have seen that. If you want to, I'll
Yeah, I
show
might
that
be
there.
there. Yeah.
So you might have seen this, and you might have seen that this was coming. And they've been basically touting for the last year and a half that they're going to be opening their own pressing plant, and that they're going to be pressing their own records. They even have it listed here as Vinyl Media Pressing. And they even hired and had an entire article of Meet the Wizards, Gary Sailstrom. They hired from Quality Record Pressings to come in and run the plant. And apparently, I have no idea, and I wasn't able to ask him about any of this because they're currently in litigation and, like in court about this. But apparently Cam Schaefer, who was the current CEO as of a few months ago, he is one of 2 people. So there were 2 people that were the original founders, Matt, and I think the other guy's name is Terry. I do apologize if I'm getting the other person's name wrong, but they're the original founders. And then Cam apparently came on later. And then Cam has since in 2020 taken over as the CEO and been running it since 2020. And so apparently this was either his brainchild or something to do with what they were doing with him. But apparently this is not part of Vinyl Me Please. This pressing plant is a completely separate entity and is not supposed to be part of it. And Vinyl Me Please was going to maybe be like like one of their bigger customers, but apparently there was things, because there's an article from the Denver Post that is linked. Maybe we could link it in the description of this video later so people could see it. But that's basically the only place that I was able to get the actual information of this from. But they basically said that that the 2 sides are arguing that Cam basically deceived the company into this pressing plant, which I'm not really sure how you do that when like these things are coming out and everyone knows like that this is coming. So I'm not really sure how, and that's probably where his case is going to lie, in terms of him saying like, I was very upfront about this. Everyone knew about this. But then on their side, they're going to say, well, no one knew about this. So I have no idea. What I do know is that they're trying to get away from this. They're trying to separate themselves from it. And it basically comes down to this plant is no longer going to be involved with them at all. There are a ton of pre-orders for... Oh, okay, cool. You did link to the article. And then there are a ton of pre-orders that people have that were supposed to be pressed here. Like, it even says here in this article, like, the Grateful Dead Volume 2 Anthology set... Not Volume 2, Second Edition. The Blue Note Second Edition. The Impulse Volume 1 Edition. from what I understood, because I think it even says somewhere in this magazine that they had put out that the Latin jazz or Latin soul series that they're doing, they have a couple with Willie Colon and Ray Barretto that they've already started putting out, or that they've done pre-orders for. They were also supposed to get pressed here. But apparently none of that's happening now. So apparently none of them are getting pressed there. And they're also not canceling any of those pressings. They're also not stopping any of the deals for pressings for new things in the future. And they're getting all of that stuff pressed at other places, including QRP is what they said, I think, in this article. Either QRP or RTI. I forget which one they said, but one of those two, which is a very good plan, that they'll be getting it pressed at. So all of the records of the month, like this, any record like these that come with the not OB strip, any of those records, that includes any of the tracks. So anything that you get for country, hip hop, rock, essentials, or classics. And I also believe that Dolly Parton track too. They were never pressed or never planned to be pressed here. They've always been pressed, and I think they still are, at GZ Vinyl, because I think they still say made in Czech Republic or something.
Yeah, because that was something I didn't understand. So they managed GZ, so that's my personal humble opinion for all the lawyers out there. I had the impression that they really helped GZ to really press very high quality records and all of this. And then suddenly when you have a pressing plant which works of your standards, you put in some years of work and all partnership and all of that, and then you decide you make your own pressing plant with all the hassle with it. And like you mentioned, they have 17 people working for them. How do you have a pressing plant?
That's what baffled me when he said 17 people. I was completely blown away, because I was like, how do you even run the pressing plant alone? And then that's part of, if you read that article, that's part of some of the things in the article, because apparently, they were asking employees to work. Like, they were asking employees to do work at the pressing plant, and the employees are like, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to work for Vinyl Me Please. Like, you know what I mean? So, again, I don't want to speak out of turn, because I have no idea what's going to come out in any of these lawsuits or anything like that. As we were saying, before, like, because they are a small company, and I hope that they will survive, and I think that they will. I mean, I think that they listen enough to their customer base, and I think that they're gonna. I even said too that it was the right idea for their old CEO. So, in the process of all this, the one thing that has definitively happened so far is Cam Schaefer, who was the CEO that kind of put all this stuff together. He's no longer the CEO. He's gone. And he's the one getting sued. And now the original founder of the company, his name is Matt. He is now back in with the company, and he's now the CEO again. And so he's who I got to speak to today. And he seems like a really nice guy. And like, his whole idea and want for ever starting the company was pretty genuine. And, like, he's a vinyl lover and wanted to be able to, put out some cool records and get records out to people that were hard to find. So, we talked about a lot of things in terms of like what I like about the company, and that was pretty much all. But I mean, yeah, that's where they are at the moment, and I do hope that they survive, and I think they will. I think that with his guidance, they're going to be okay. Just because I think that, again, I think that most of the reason why most of us like them, like, for example, Chance or Isaiah Bowie Aguilar here, I think that most of the reason why people like them is because they have good music that they're putting out. They're not trying to push, like, I mean, this is an awesome record. You know what I mean? Like, this is really sick. And like, this is another awesome record that they put out, this Melvin Sparks Spark Plug, and this South Side Movement. This is another one that was a super rare one, a super rare funk record to even have. I never even heard of this before, and it came out on Vinyl Me Please, and I immediately went out and got it. And they have it on this brown vinyl. Now, what's interesting is this is Real Gone music. So they're getting out there with companies like Kraft and Real Gone Music. I think Bowie had mentioned this.
The Ghetto box set, yes.
Yeah, the Ghetto Records box set, and I did a video on this one too. And I mean, like, this is done in conjunction with Now Again Records, and man, like, this is so good. And they're now continuing, like, a lot of the stuff that kind of was inspired from this. I think or at least the reaction that the customers got from this box set is what's driving the new, like, Latin series that they have with the Willie Colon and Ray Barretto, and that's all in conjunction with Kraft, which is really cool. So this thing's really sick.
So Peter says, Vinyl Me Please should start some advertising outside the US. I feel like nobody knows what it is or ever heard of it. Yeah. Yes, and next to that, Peter, you have to consider, if you are a customer from Europe, your subscription model is not cheap. So I'm an on and off subscriber. I canceled my subscription after a year because they had this great thing, which I think you also advertised, was if you now sign up, you get 8 records for free, and that was a great deal. So but like I said, if you're a European customer, it's not the cheapest way to do, and I hope they work on the pricing so that it's more affordable for people. But like I said, also with the customer service, I never had an issue with the customer service. I got the gospel box set, which they did. And like, all of the records were scratched, and I immediately got a new one. So yeah, but I wasn't so happy. Yeah, sorry. They
did send you a new one though?
Yeah, because I sent them pictures and said all of them were totally scratched. So this can happen, and when humans are involved, things like this can happen. But honestly, I wasn't so happy with the packaging of the gospel box set, which I think was tremendous. Nobody ever did this before, putting out these records, which was absolutely great, but it was not the same quality as with the Cadet box set.
I know what you mean. I think when I got because with the Cadet one, and even with the Zamrock, the ones they open in that, like, flip top box, it's almost similar to almost similar to the acoustic sounds when you get like a UHQR. And it has like a few pieces of padding in there. And then when I got the Gospel Truth, it was just in basically just a cardboard box. I agree. It was not packaged as well. And that seems odd. It almost seemed like, because they weren't treating it, because it wasn't an anthology, it wasn't listed as an anthology set, but it's like, it's still a box set, like, it's to still get the good packaging. But that is something that I wanted to bring up with him. Is better mailers and better packaging overall is something that I think they could definitely do. And I wasn't aware. So is it more expensive? Is the actual subscription price more expensive in Europe?
Yeah, because of the shipping.
So, but the shipping cost it's the shipping cost that's more expensive, not the actual base price of the membership.
I did this a year ago. I need to look it up, but it's if you have an American address and then switch to a German address, the price increases.
Right, because I understand. I mean, it sucks. I understand the shipping being more expensive to Europe. I mean, I don't understand it, but I get it from that perspective. It would really suck if they were just straight up charging more for the membership in Europe. That would not be cool. But yeah, I mean, that is something that I will bring up to him because I will get a chance to talk to him again. And when I do, I will talk to him definitely about advertising more in Europe, and about even just trying to get more of a European, market out there, especially because if I'm not mistaken, like, GZ Vinyl's in Europe, right? So the records are coming from Europe to come back to the United States.
So start doing advertisement in Europe. And maybe you have a YouTuber who is into collaboration, like the same thing you kind of did for the US market, and like having them present everything, and having then a storage up here in Europe where you can ship this. This would absolutely make sense. And Peter points out it's like $10 more expensive than the subscription than if you are in the United States, and that's a lot.
That's also so that's just the shipping alone is $100 more expensive, makes it more expensive.
I
But
think so. It would be logical. So and chances
yeah,
Europe and Canada are much higher than the US. Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll
And
have to. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely talk to him about it.
yes, that would be great. And like I said, if you have like YouTubers up here, like in Europe, like you are for the US market and putting people in contact, this would be very good because if you show a record in a video and tell the people, look, this just came out. This is a beautiful box set, and you open it up and show the records and all of this. This totally would make sense in
I
having
agree.
somebody in your language. For example, the German market. Just an example.
I know of a very good German YouTuber that would be really great at this. But yeah, no, I mean, I seriously, I definitely would. I think that's a great idea, and it's something that unfortunately I always overlook when I'm sitting there because I had the chance to talk to him, and I'm like trying to figure out like writing down questions to ask him or whatever, and I'm trying to think of like what I want because the other thing is I'm not too picky about like their choices, and I even said that to him too. Like, I mean, one of the reasons I said this to him that one of the reasons why I joined the service is because I've already been collecting for 20 years, that maybe the service is not a beginner's service where if you're trying to fill out your new collection with Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and the Beatles, like everybody does right when they start collecting,
Yeah.
it's not really the place to go for that. So it's more of a place to go where you've already kind of exhausted yourself and now you're like, I'm willing to let somebody else kind of make some choices for me. And that's where like I said, I mean, getting into Bruce Springsteen or me getting into, the Vanguard Records box set, like I wouldn't have done that had they not, suggested it. So,
Yes,
I mean,
and
that's a cool thing.
yeah, that's a great advantage for the subscription model. And also, if you're not subscriber, you can still cherry pick in the
Oh,
store.
absolutely. Yeah. And you can also
So
buy this stuff on secondhand too. I mean, like that Vanguard, just so people know too, especially people in Europe, that Vanguard box set goes for like well below its retail price for some reason. I have no idea why, but like people should not sleep on that. Like you can get that Vanguard box set for like 170 US dollars, which is an absolute steal for what it is. I mean, like it's audiophile vinyl. It's really nice. Comes with a beautiful booklet. Comes with a beautiful box, and they're all color variants and everything. And it's like 150, $60. I mean, that's not bad at all.
but now you have to consider one thing. If I want that box set and I find it very cheap in the US market, I need to pay taxes, I need to pay
Yeah.
shipping. So if it comes up here,
Hey,
so vinyl me please, if you talk
I had
to
to buy this from Europe, and I had to buy this from Japan. I mean,
hold on,
and
I'm looking at,
yeah, I mean
oh, that's
this
so
is the Miles.
beautiful.
It's in immaculate condition. The Miles Davis Dark Magus original Japan copy, and I mean I got all of these from Europe. I mean, especially too a lot of the Daptone stuff that I listen to. Daptone's very big in Europe, and or at least it seems because it seems like they're always touring around there, Lee Fields, and I've had to get a lot of some of the awesome variants. I've had to get a lot of the awesome variants and stuff like that from Europe, and I've had to pay the tax coming in for that. In fact, I'm actually we were talking about cassettes earlier. There's a new MPB collection that I got on 45 box set for Record Store Day from Mr. Bongo Records, Brazil 45 box set. And this one's
Mm.
curated by DJ Coco, right?
You have
And
more volumes. They have many volumes, right? Volume
right,
four,
right.
five. Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
I
So
love
now
that.
they're on volume 5. So I
Yeah.
just got volume 5, and so the volume 5 I apparently also came out on cassette, and the cassette has like 5 or 6 more tracks on it. And I didn't. They only released like 150 of them, and so there's somebody out there on Discogs right now that has one in the UK, and it would be a cheap price for it in the UK, but then I got to pay like an extra $30 in shipping, to get it over here. Plus the conversion rate, like my conversion rate, like the US dollar is a little lower than the pound, I guess it is. So the new
So that
Boogaloo
new
record already
Boogaloo record already sold out in the UK.
with the Clear
Wow.
45. Wait, which new Boogaloo record?
I think the 45. But maybe
New Boogaloo
Boogie,
record.
you can.
Oh no,
claim
the Daptone. Oh, the
the that one.
Daptone, the UK Daptone. Okay. Oh, the Cuban one, the the Orchestra Akokon. Yeah, so speaking of other cool things that's coming out on Vinyl Me Please / Daptone Records, the Orchestra Akokon. I think I have. Sorry, I have it upstairs. But the orchestra, I think that's how it's pronounced. Orchestra Akokon is coming out with a new record, and if you want to this is like authentic Cuban Latin orchestra. I mean, it is just amazing. It sounds like it's straight out of 1964, and it is just wonderful. And they put out an edition on like a certain with a yellow label, actually yellow record label, and I think it's a red fire vinyl of their first record on Vinyl Me Please, and I think it's actually still out there. They only pressed 500 of them, and I think it's still there, along with another one from Jalen Naganda, who is another really great soul singer. Jalen Naganda is from the UK, and he is a new soul singer for Daptone Records, under kind of like the Daptone Recordings thing, where he, I think, recorded the record in the UK, but then released it over here through Daptone. And then they put out a variant on Vinyl Me Please also. But I think both of those are less than 500 copies and all still on Vinyl Me Please right now. So everyone should go
Not
get them.
after the stream anymore, I think.
Yay, why not? Great. Awesome. Get them out of there. So, which is awesome because that's what, again, that's, like the Barbara Howard. I mean, that's what, VMP is all about.
Yeah, and please, Vinyl Me Please, if you're watching, do more of this rare, super rare stuff for people who would really want that album. I can make suggestions if you want to, but that would be absolutely amazing. Do you guys who are in the gallery? Hold on, I'll make you. Oh, that looks beautiful. Oh, that looks.
Yeah, this. Have you seen this, or do you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is the It's like
look at that.
It's like a brick red, or like a like a brick.
On Fania. Oh, I love the Fania label.
Yeah, I know. And they have this, and then again, what's awesome is this was an essential record of the month, so it came with this awesome art print too.
Yeah, they have also for they put out some Aretha Franklin. I Never Loved a Man. And I really, really, they had some great pictures in it, some really great printings, and I love these. And also, suggestion from Peter is, if you're talking to Matt, that he wants some real Obies.
Will do.
Yeah.
Will do.
So, guys, do you have some more questions in the gallery for Vinyl Me Please for Rocco? And I'm sure, Rocco, we're going to meet again, I think, quite soon for a stream on your channel anytime.
That would be awesome.
That
would be very cool.
Yeah, I'll make time whenever you want.
Yes, definitely. We're going to talk some more soul music. We're going to get into more of this like deep soul stuff and everything. I want to talk about more of these Chicano soul records that I was talking to you about, and I want to hear more of I love how much you deep dive into like all the rare soul stuff that nobody's ever heard of. So.
Yeah, and next week I'm gonna do an episode of Hidden Jewels of Soul and Disco about Joy Unlimited.
Oh, nice. So, yeah, I know of Joy Unlimited.
This is such a great album. I listen to it constantly, and she became a kind of in Germany we say Schlagersänger, a singer who does like folky music, but she was so good. And she did a second album Joy Unlimited, which is called Schmetterlinge in German, and in American it's called Butterflies, on the Pilz label, which is a kind of krautrock label. So this is just killer. If you have a chance, find it on YouTube and listen to it.
I will. Yeah, definitely.
She's a German singer, and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. And I got this as a VCLT because I was looking for it for so long. And this is a great. And we will dive into some more records. But one thing I don't believe, because I've got this question quite often, I don't believe that Vinyl Me Please is going out of business, because when Matt is now taking over, he built this company up. And I think his biggest interest is to keep the company up, what he built. And they did in the past fantastic jobs. And they did some great releases, period.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, it's what I think is great is that it didn't go to like a board of trustees or something, or to like some other outside partner. Like you said, they go back to the person who actually started the company. And so one other thing I'm going to bring up to him again is also the drink recipes. I want them to bring that back. I think that would be very cool for people. I think that was a good touch that they had. I think I actually have one of the ones that is the last one. I think the Erykah Badu Mama's Gun is the last one that has, and the drink recipe on the inside of that one is actually a non-alcoholic drink too. So
yeah, that was so great. I think that was such a great idea. You have the record, and it's like sitting in a nice club in the evening. You have the record, and we present you the drink with the record. Oh, I love that.
I think that's where the name came from too. So that's pretty cool.
All right, everybody,
yes,
we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up on our Rocco. Thank you so much for taking the time, for explaining a little bit the information and everything's around. And I can highly suggest that you check out Rocco's channel. I put the link to his channel down below on the description in the live stream. And we see each other again on Rocco's channel, and we dive more into records. And I can't wait to talk about some of the records I've seen in the back. And once again, Rocco, thank you. Yeah, there are some box sets I want, I tell you for sure.
Oh, you know what I just got too? This just came out, right? I got the 1989 version, whatever it is, 1989, or the one that came out like originally back, that has the actual jackets. So
can you show that? Can you please show the box with the jackets? Because is the other box different? Does the other box don't have jackets?
Right. So the one that just came out recently is a little bit cheaper, and it doesn't have all the full jackets of the records. It's just like they're like the, just like an insert almost for each cover.
Okay. Can you show that, please? The original with the covers?
Yeah. You want to see it now?
Yeah, sure. I want to see it now.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay, great.
No, I have you up here.
Well, hold on. So this is the box itself. Let me go get the records themselves. They're upstairs. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Peter, it seems that it has the jackets, so maybe he can show them to us. I'm not from. I've heard about that box set when it was announced. I have no clue about the original one. I haven't seen the original one. We're gonna wait, and he's gonna show that. But it was very fast. Also, the reissue was very fast sold out. So all record, I'll make you big. Hold on. So these are the records from back then.
So these are the actual jackets, the actual records from. This is the actual box set. Came out in 1998, and this one here is numbered 1642, I guess.
Okay.
And then, sorry, I'm a little out of breath. Just ran upstairs. So there's at the Black Hawk, 5 by Monk 5, Mysterioso, Monk in Action. This was a release from Vinyl Me Please.
Yeah.
And this just got a one step from Kraft.
Yeah.
I actually just bought the one step. And this was an OJC. This just came out on an OJC that I just got also. So when you get this new box from Chad, he just came out with this new box set. The new box doesn't have the actual jackets. Like these are the actual, I'll
make you big. Can you show the jacket again?
Yep. Sorry, let me put it over here. So these are the actual, this is an actual jacket. And these don't come with, these do not come with the new edition that Chad just put out. The new edition only has it only has these as just like an insert, like the way that you would just get like an insert for a jacket. It does come with, all the QRP sleeves. And Felipe from the Jazz Bums actually just did a really great breakdown of this whole thing of the new one that you get from Chad. So I was planning on doing a new one of this on my channel as well. But these are the actual sleeves here and the actual jackets. And so this one is all done by Kevin Gray at Quality Record Pressings. Or no. Was it Acoustech, I guess, or QRP, the same thing. So show each of the jackets here. But yeah. So these came out in 1998, and then the new reissue that's out now. And I just got this on Discogs because I wanted to actually get the actual jackets. So when it came out from Chad, and now he just released also the individual. You can buy all these individually with each of the jackets from Discogs. So I think that's pretty cool too. So if you wanted to get that, I saw some other people jumped in here. There's a couple more to show. Like I said, this Brilliant Corners, I just got this as the Craft One Step, and then like a couple days later saw that box set announcement, and I was weighing between that Craft One Step and the Vince Guaraldi one because they were on sale on Craft, so I bought them. But yeah, then there's this one. And then I got an OJC of this one too, but it was scratched. So I was glad to be able to get that one back and go with that.
So, hello, Norman. Welcome to the show. Norman Maslow. Hi. So surprised they even did a new box set without covers since they released the full albums with covers a few weeks later. Okay.
I know. And then it makes it harder to decide. If you go through and do the pricing, I think the way he priced it out, I think they're like $40 each for each of these with the jackets, and there's 7 of them, so it's like $280. It almost is like an equal price. You basically pay like a little bit more for this like box here, for this box, and the booklet that comes with it. So that's why I just went on to Discogs and found this for a really good price from a place and just got it from them for that price.
I'm looking so forward to our next stream when we only talk about records.
Yeah. Cool. It'll be a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Norman.
12 album full Birds box of their Columbia catalog. I agree, Mazzy. I told them too that they should do like other, either. I mean, I mentioned reggae stuff. I said they should do like a reggae anthology box set of somebody's. And then, it would be awesome to do something like that, like all 11 albums from the Byrds or something. Or even like other like cool San Francisco bands or even like, psych bands that weren't, that popular. I really like what Noble Records is doing with like reissuing a lot of those rare psych stuff, all that stuff.
Yeah, and for me especially, why don't you do that with Soul Records? Vinyl Me Please. Right. So you started great. Why don't you do that? Because people are going to buy it because it's so super rare, has never been reissued before.
I agree. Very much so.
Okay, guys, now we are wrapping it up. Stay tuned. Rocco will announce on his channel when we are going to do a live stream. I also was asked if we're doing regular streams because I kind of talked to some people. We figured that out. We sure will. And thanks everybody for watching. Once again, Rocco, thank you so much for all your insights. And Boogie, what do you have? They should do soundtracks. Oh yeah, that's also a great idea.
And that's a good soundtrack too, that Mambo Kings.
So they need
Yes,
to
that
do.
Betty Davis light in the attic too. Yep.
Oh yeah, that was also great, and a very special record from each country in Europe.
They
Yeah,
did
yeah.
say that they're going to start looking into what's called like guest curation
Mm,
things. So I really think that that would be an awesome idea.
yeah. All right. Is somebody else having suggestions or questions before we end? Let go of the Mandu guys. Well, I have no clue. Do you know that, Rocco?
I'm not sure. I didn't hear that they let them go. I do remember them bringing them in because I remember they made because I remember because did Mondo go out of business or something? I think Mondo went out of business. I think, but I do remember them bringing those guys in, and I remember there was one of these write ups saying that they were going to be doing a lot more soundtrack things because they did just release that Footloose thing. I wasn't crazy about it, but like they have that all the and there's also a Barbie one too, and that Barbie one I wasn't I'm not gonna buy it, but like there's a lot of cool like looking stuff in there. If you're into that kind of thing, you would love that box set. So
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you once again, Rocco. We see each other soon. Everybody in the
yes,
gallery, thanks for joining. Everybody who will watch later on. Um, and Peebles, yeah, totally and Peebles, totally Al Green,
I
who
don't.
was also on high. There were many great
They've done a
artists.
lot of the Al Green stuff,
Yeah.
so they would have
Also,
a connection with High. Yeah,
yeah, and they also should do some Vault stuff, which was a sub label by Stax. So that also we have many ideas, Rocco. You need to write everything down.
I will. Well, this is recorded now, so we'll get them watching this and tell everybody to watch this. Friends, share it with your friends and get everyone
Yeah,
out there watching it and get Vinyl Me Please watching it.
so it is. Okay, everybody,
Cool.
have a great time. I see you soon, and Rocco, thanks once again.
Thank you, Nadine. I'll see you later.